All right, here we go. It is episode 27 of the Odgies podcast. Harry Mays, Jason Myrtetus. And right before we come live, Harry goes, oh, God, I got to pull that up.
Jeez. Well, that's why this podcast is called what it's called.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how many times a day in my private life, just all by myself, wandering around the house doing stuff, do I utter the phrase, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just everywhere.
And for good reason. A
Yeah.
lot of that is just preparing the program here.
Right.
Or just in general conversation, which is a great thing. Harry, let's start with telling people about Parks and telling people about the Phillies, because about 6 weeks ago, if you'd have jumped on the Bet Parks app and bet the Phillies futures, you'd be in a really good position right now and feeling good about your bet.
Yeah, you would. And, Bryce Harper goes down a couple of weeks ago. He gets hit by that pitch in San Diego from Snell, and you'd think that they would have just fallen off the map. They're actually 8-6 since that happened. I mean, they're staying above water. You got the All-Star break coming up in another week. They're heading north of the border, and we got some issues there that we'll talk about today. But this Phillies team, it's funny because I said that I haven't watched any baseball the last time that we recorded, which was, 2 weeks ago now. Since Harper has gone down, I've actually tuned into about 5 or 6 of their games over this 14-game stretch.
So the guy on the marquee is not playing, and now you're tuned in. But when the guy on the marquee and the MVP is playing, you're not watching.
Well, it wasn't like I was intentionally not watching because of him. Right. I like Bryce Harper. Okay.
Yeah,
I was for him coming here, and I thought it was a great move. But no, it's the NBA and the NHL playoffs are now gone. Okay. So I've got some empty spaces in my nighttime television viewing calendar, and I'm filling it with a little bit of baseball. I got to be honest. I'm flipping by. The wife goes, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" "It's baseball." I said, "Yeah, I'm starting to pay attention to it."
And what did she say? Jeez. She's like, "Haven't you had enough of this sports thing?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
oh man.
Yeah, it's been crazy because of how much better they've been since Girardi's been gone.
I know, it really is.
Was this guy really the plug that was screwing everything up?
Mike, and a plug, nice hockey term that you threw in there. We got a little hockey to discuss today, the Flyers with their draft and free agency trades and the like. But yeah, nice plug. I love that word.
Yeah, I knew you would. That and pigeon.
Pigeon, yeah. Whenever I hear plug and pigeon, I think of our old buddy Pat Egan.
Yeah, he is both of those.
Right.
He texted me, I guess it was on Sunday, and said, "Can you play tomorrow night at like 7:30?" And I sent back, my response was simple: "No, I'm retired."
Oh,
so I've hung up the pads.
Okay,
we didn't have a press conference or anything.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, you could have played. Are you sort of like, is it free agency in night men's league? Like, guys can just sort of show up and play for whatever team they want.
Yeah, well, for goalies, yeah, because
okay.
You just need a sub from time to time.
Oh, so goalies are like kickers in football. You can just sort of pick one up, use them for a game, and then put them back on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
So
he said, "My team at Oaks might need a goalie tomorrow night. Are you around?" I said, "I'm retired for now." And he goes, "We're talking low-level C, not the pros you're used to." And I said, "Retired is retired." And I said, "Plus, I'd rather play at a high level so some donkey doesn't hit me in the head with a puck that he doesn't know where it's going." And he goes, "See you at 7:30.
Well, you didn't go, though, did you?
No, damn it, no. I don't play that crap.
All
right. You couldn't get – that's one thing you could not get a line on. Was Pat Egan's C League beer league team at Oaks this week. But you can on everything else, tennis.
Yep. Golf. We got a big major, the final major of the year this year, the Open Championship this week.
Wow.
Patrick Cantlay plus 2,200 at Parks and Jordan Spieth plus 1,600 to win are two that I like on the Bet Parks app. And I'm looking at those right now, as you can see right there.
So you got the final major. Yep. You got the remainder, the second half of the baseball season, and right into the pennant races and everything else. And then boom, and you're going to have football in there. But geez, football's in there going to be there before you know it. We're right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Training.
And last I looked, nobody is being denied entry into the Open Championship that is qualified for vaccination status.
Is that right?
Okay. Yeah, it's amazing.
So
Like,
full field.
if you're representing Live Golf and you're the CEO of Live, you can't come to the champions dinner and eat and cavort with all the former champions. Like, Greg Norman was denied, but it had nothing to do with his vaccination status. All right. I can report that.
All right. So we're not vaccine shaming the PGA
Right.
Tour. We're just doing that for Major League Baseball.
And tennis.
And it's very true.
Djokovic will not be allowed, apparently, to the U.S. Open because he's unvaccinated.
He had the same issue when he was going over. Was it the Australian Open?
I think the Australian Open. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, he recently, of course, won Wimbledon last weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
just
unbelievable. But yeah, get on the BetParks app, check it out, navigate it, and get ready for football. But use the baseball season as well, and all the futures and everything else. It's all there. Player performances, same game parlays, you name it. Check out the BetParks app and use promo code Jason750, JASO750, and that's going to get you a $750 risk-free bet. Terms and conditions do apply. So download the app today. Some conditions do apply, like I said. And you need to be present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So you half the team not able to travel to Toronto, Harry.
Well, it's Realmuto Nola, who pitched last night anyway. He wouldn't have been pitching in Toronto for this mini-series anyway, so that's kind of a non-issue. But Bohm also apparently is unvaccinated, and he dislocated his finger last night in the finale in St. Louis. He thought it was broken. Apparently, according to the manager, it's a dislocation. They popped it back in. No reason to know how long this might keep him out, if at all, after the Toronto series, and then Gibson, one of the other pitchers. So the big thing is Realmuto, not being able to play. And of course, he's sending out videos, sort of standing up for his decision making. And I have no issue with his decision not to do it. There are, consequences. And, I just don't understand how you can't, if all these guys are not ill and they're not testing,
or they're still alive at this point.
Are they still getting tested?
Yes.
Because these athletes were getting tested like every day, for months on end. Okay. And, he hasn't had COVID recently. There's no, just test him. And if he's fine, why shouldn't he be allowed into the country? It's just preposterous to me that this exists.
Yeah. That this is still existing, right?
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, and look, we'll see if it costs the Phillies in any way, shape, or form. Like you said, Nola, it mitigated it because he was pitching right just before the miniseries anyway.
Right. They lost last night.
Yeah, maybe it's Bohm mitigating it too, that because he dislocates the finger sliding in the second.
Right.
But I mean, I guess the only thing that's worrisome here is if they got into a playoff series and they were facing a team like Toronto, it would be the World Series.
Well, that'd be the World Series.
Yeah, but I mean, that would be the only thing.
We crossed that bridge when we came to it.
Yeah, and we got to that bridge before with the Phillies taking on Toronto in the World Series.
Yeah, well, what was that, 1993?
Yeah, when Carter hit the bomb.
Right.
And Joe Morris, I mean, you had that team with Morris, and unbelievable. They were so good. Who was the third baseman on that team? Cito Gaston was the manager.
Oh, you're talking about the Blue Jays?
Yeah, was that Paul? It's not Molitor.
Was it Molitor? I think he was on that team.
Was he?
I think so. I mean, he was with
Molitor on that team?
Wasn't Molitor? Was he with the Brewers, the
Twins, might have been with the
and the
Brewers
Blue Jays?
Yeah.
Why are we going back there?
I don't know. I was just thinking about the Blue Jays, and I didn't feel like talking about vaccines anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, I just think it's ridiculous. Like at this point that we're still talking about this and not allowing, these athletes who are finely tuned machines that have been tested, left and right and, not into certain countries to compete. It just seems ridiculous to me.
Yeah. And obviously it'll become a pretty big story on the radio and those things. And I don't even really want to give it much more air, that part of it, because I think it is ridiculous. I mean, at the point that we're at, talking about it, I mean, we know what we're talking about here. So let's move on. But the Phillies have been very good. Harry's watching baseball. That's the big takeaway from the beginning of the program.
Right. And also my new look.
Yeah, seriously.
What do you think about my new look?
So you went the new hairstyle, Harry. What's that called again? The hard part?
Well, it's a hard part is what they call it. They'd actually take the stylist.
Yeah, growing hair is the hard part for me.
Well, Agreed. But they, the stylist will take the clipper and actually shave a part into your head.
Oh, that makes it easy. That's a no work part.
Right. And it's just, it's sort of a separation of church and state. You got the
Yeah.
buzzed side here with the 0 or the 1, clipper. And then at top, it's a little bit longer, but it's, nicely coiffed. And it's very easy to maintain. And I find it kind of looks better with a little bit of facial hair.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, Harry, it's a little James Hetfieldish looking.
You think so?
A little bit of the flip in the front going on there. Yeah, it's kind of what Hetfield rocks these
really?
days. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Good.
Hardwired to self-destruct there. That's you. But
man.
Yeah, it's kind of a Hetfield thing. You wouldn't think that's a Hetfield thing, huh?
No,
but it is.
I wouldn't think so. All right. Good.
Now, did you see? Did I show you the Dirty Harry gun for killing bugs I have here, Harry?
What is that? A 44 Magnum bug killer?
You know what? I didn't even buy it. So I get this package that comes one day, addressed to me, and I open it up, and it's this. It's the bug killer gun, the salt gun.
Yeah, Bruno had one of those back in the day.
Is that right? He had the Uzi, though, or the bazooka?
I think he had like the Laws rocket. It was one of those things you had to put it on your shoulder.
Yeah, like a bazooka. But so I'm looking at this box, and inside there's extra CO2. There's extra of the the little cartridges that are right here, that have the salt. And I'm like, where the hell did this come from? And I hadn't worked. It wasn't when I was doing the radio show. And I'm thinking, because sometimes we would just get shit sent to us.
Right.
And hoping
unsolicited.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going, well, who the hell is this? And I look them up on Twitter and all this stuff, and I don't see anything. Well, my next door neighbor was like, I thought you would like one. So he ordered one for me, paid for it and everything.
It's a nice neighbor.
Yeah. So I was blasting bugs last night. I was like, I mean, this is like a Dirty Harry gun with a long barrel.
It's like a 44 Magnum.
Yeah.
So
tell me, Bug, do you feel lucky?
Yeah, exactly. So, what kind of bugs? Are we talking like spotted lanternflies, the Chinese?
I don't see those anymore.
I do. I still got a couple on my back deck, and they'll come up on my screen on my sliding glass door that comes out from my kitchen onto my deck. So what I do is I open up the glass part of it, and then I get my Windex bottle and I squirt them, and then they fall off, and they're like laying on the deck going like this. It's awesome.
They didn't like the soapy water either. We used to do the soapy water on them as well.
Right.
I haven't seen any of this year. We were just talking about that the other day, but no, I'm just talking like your general house fly or spider or moth or what I tend to hunt pretty regularly at this point. So I'm walking out the back door of the garage the other night, and not the garage door, but the actual door. And I get just tangled in the spider. And I look up, and there's this. I mean, he is a knock. This spider is huge.
Oh, really?
So I go in, and I'm like, let's get Evan. And I get the Dirty Harry gun out. I go, you want to blow this thing out? And he's like, sure. So I'm like, get close and everything. And he gets like right near it, like maybe
like point blank.
14 inches and missed.
He missed.
I don't know if he caught a blank in the salt rock. I'm like, how did you miss?
It's like missing a penalty shot.
It's like
missed the net.
But this thing's like a shotgun. It's like, buckshot.
Right. It's scatter shot.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
And
I hate to do it.
I'm like, give me that thing. And I just went, poof, and the thing just went, poof. I go, we'll see that spider no more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of that, we lost him too this past week.
Yeah, we've lost a couple of guys. We lost Jimmy Kahn, who, of course, said the line, "Oh, Paulie, won't see him no more."
Right,
from The Godfather.
Right. James Caan, of course. Yeah, Sonny.
And then we also lost Paulie from The Sopranos in Tony Sirico.
Paulie Walnuts, of course.
Yes.
And he was, what was he, in his 70s, I believe?
I think he might have even been in his 80s.
No, I don't think he
was
made
he still in his 70s?
I think he was in his 70s, yeah.
Okay.
But he had a good run.
Yeah, he was. Damn, Harry. Was he? I think he was the best TV, like a non-main character, a regular cast character, but not a main character.
Right. In
a TV show, the best character I've ever watched. I thought he was fucking hilarious.
Well, he was. But done those like HBO shows, like The Sopranos types, The Wire, and things like, they're kind of in their own category. Like I can't like compare those to like characters from Seinfeld or Cheers or some of these great regular TV shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right. Even like ER, like the dramas or,
Mhm.
Saint Elsewhere, you can't because there's different playing rules
Yeah.
because of the FCC compliance and all of that. So, but I mean, he was
was my
so
favorite
good.
on the Sopranos outside of Tony.
He stole the scene almost every time, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. T. I love the way he called
Yeah.
it T.
just the way he said everything.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get
the
your
whole
hearing
thing.
checked.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, go downstairs to the ear, nose, and throat doctor and get your hearing checked. But like dumb and ignorant, but
funny,
funny as hell.
Unintentionally funny.
Yeah,
really. Yeah,
that's what made him great. And the whole everything from the white shoes and the sweatsuits to the way he wore a suit, he nailed it, man. I'm bummed out that Tony Sirico passed away.
I tell you, me too. But I tell you, the one scene that disturbed me the most that he was heavily involved with.
Oh, can I guess it?
Yeah, go ahead.
What? It's one of two. It's
All
the
right.
one where he's just sitting in his room watching cartoons and laughing out loud in Boca when him and Toady are lambing it.
No.
Or when he strangles his mom's friend for the money under the bed.
That's a bad one too, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the one where he went over and beat the crap out of the lawnmower guy.
Oh.
Remember that?
Yeah, because he was infringing on Sal Vitro's territory.
Right.
And he
stole
broke
the guy's arm, didn't he?
No, that was actually not him who broke the arm.
Oh, it was.
That was actually Feech LaManna. Who pulled up in the caddy. Yeah. Who, of course, was Robert
Loggia.
Yeah, Robert Loggia.
Robert Loggia.
Who was in Scarface.
Scarface, of course, yeah.
And yeah, he went over and
crazy like a fox.
Yep. He kicked the shit out of the lawn guy.
Yeah.
Who was on that? Yeah. Sal Vitro was the lawn guy. He was walking around with the thing. And Paulie was trying to get his territory back, and he went in to see Feech at his bakery.
Okay.
And Feech goes, "Now get the fuck out of here!" You know the way he talked when he got mad? Yeah. So great. What's yours is yours. What's nobody's is nobody's.
It's funny you brought up the bakery because that was one of the Christopher scenes that I didn't like when he went into the bakery and shot that kid.
Yeah.
Remember?
Shot him in the foot. He was kind of what happened to him in Goodfellas.
In Goodfellas. Spider.
Shot in the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Dead Spider.
It all comes full circle.
Now it makes sense.
Yes.
Solve the world problem. So
yeah, we lost two big acting legends to me.
Yeah.
And James Caan and Paulie Walnuts.
James Caan was good in The Program.
He was. That was a great football movie. Underrated. Yeah. Omar Epps was great in that movie too.
When he had to carry the ball around everywhere because he had fumble problems, and everybody was always trying to. He'd be like falling asleep in class, and somebody would try and knock it out.
That was almost like a Tom Coughlin move or something that he would have done with Tiki Barber back in the day.
Yeah. I love that. That was a good movie, though. That movie, there was some controversy when that movie came out because the guys that were laying down on the road, and people were doing that, and a couple of people got killed, I guess.
Is that right?
So they removed that scene from the movie.
Yeah. A lot of that was filmed down in South Carolina at the University of South Carolina.
Oh, is that right?
A lot of those the scenes were shot there at where the Gamecocks play.
Yeah. I remember. I think it was probably 92, 93 when that came out. It was a good movie.
It was good.
So the Flyers made big news, Har.
Yeah, they did.
And they made an acquisition. Of course, they had the draft last Thursday. Was the first round. I think the first round. Yeah. He's a big kid, man. I think he's going to end up. I like the pick. I didn't know. I'm not a draft guy, so I don't pretend like I've watched.
So you're not following the junior leagues in Canada?
I don't have time for that. No. I don't have time for that. I watch the NHL. I cover the NHL.
Yeah.
I try and read up on it as best I can and stuff. But I also have 3 kids and a shitload of stuff to do.
You got bugs to shoot too.
Yeah, exactly right, Har.
Yeah.
But you look at it, and I'm not one of those guys. I can't sit there and watch it. I'm not going to pretend. like I watch the Swedish Elite League
Right.
on my internet to know who this guy is. A lot of people like to pretend about like that to do that.
Right.
I'm not one of those people. I don't watch it.
Well, it's kind
I
of
read
like some
about
of the
the-
people that bitch and moan about the Eagles draft picks that have never watched a down of college football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're bitching because somebody else wrote that it was the wrong thing to do.
Right.
And it's not their own opinion. It's a regurgitation of another opinion.
Right.
But, in reading about Cutter Gauthier, and I had a chance to talk with him on draft night and looking at the skill set and looking at everything. I mean, it looks like a nice pick, but who knows? I mean, you're drafting kids, right?
Well, he's going to go to college, right?
Yeah, he's going to BC next year.
Right, Boston College. So he's a minimum. How many years do they have to, if they decide to go to college, how many years do they have to stay?
Well, he can stay for only one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so and he can basically leave as soon as the hockey season part's over. It's like, the classes were great and everything, but I know there's a month.
It's not like baseball where if they decide to go to college, I think they got to stay 3 years.
Yeah, definitely not like that.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, he can go there 1 year, and then he's eligible to be able to play for the Phantoms too, because he's not in the CHL. He doesn't have to go back to junior. So,
and he was a winger, but I think they're going to use him as a center. Didn't they draft him with the idea of him being a center?
Yeah, and he said he likes playing the middle a little bit more because he can control the game a little more from there. And if he's able to play center, I mean, that's even more valuable as a player.
Right.
So, but I mean, they're predicting a pretty fast path for him to the show. So we'll see if he gets there pretty quickly. I talked to him the night after the draft, and I'm like, in his bio, he was born in Sweden. So I was wondering, why he was in Michigan at the U.S. National Team Development Program, in the U.S. citizenship. So I asked him, I said, so how did you get your U.S. citizenship if you were born in Sweden? What's the story behind that? And he said, my mom is born and raised in Reading.
Reading, PA?
Yes.
Oh, no way. That's where I'm from.
I go, immediately, you got to get a Cutter Gauthier jersey because of that hair.
Oh, yeah.
So mom lived in Reading. His dad was a goalie that traveled all over the world, including the Swedish Elite League when Cutter was born, but played for, I think, 3 weeks or a month for the Reading Royals of the East Coast League.
Yeah.
That's when literally was there, I think, 3 weeks or a month.
Okay.
Met his mom. They started dating, and boom, the rest is history.
There you go. I think it's the Sovereign Center up there in Reading, the Reading Royals in their purple and black uniforms.
Yep.
How about that?
Yeah, so a little pit stop in Reading and at the Pagoda through his hockey career.
There's a lot of hot chicks up there around Reading, man. I'll tell you, make a pit stop there. You never know. You might end up staying the rest of your life.
Yeah, I dated a girl from Exeter, Harry. I remember.
Well, of course, Exeter
right outside
Township.
Yeah. So,
jeez.
So they get Cutter Gauthier, but really the big news, the most polarizing news, was that they ended up making a trade
with the
Canes. The rights. Yeah, with the Canes for a local guy out of Sewell, New Jersey, but really lives in South Philly.
Right.
Tony D'Angelo comes in, and he has divided the fan base further than it was divided before her.
Is that right?
Oh.
Now, is this because Mike Sealski wrote a column about it and doesn't like the move, or what?
Flyer fans do not read Mike Sealski.
Oh, okay.
I can assure you of that.
Well, what's his background? Because I don't know a whole lot about him.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't know much about him. He was actually drafted by Steve Yzerman in the Lightning. They moved on pretty quick. He was drafted 19th overall in the first round.
Sent
to
year?
Arizona.
How long ago?
2014.
Okay, all right.
So he's only 26.
Yeah.
So he was sent to Arizona, and then Arizona sent him to the New York Rangers, where he really kind of flourished. Now, in his junior career, he was suspended for a racial slur said to a teammate during a game.
All right.
I think it was an Asian kid that was on his team. I don't know the whole story.
All right.
But he made his way to the New York Rangers and started to have some real success. I mean,
under what coach?
With the Rangers, I guess that was under Dan Quinn.
Okay. All right.
And his last year certainly was. Because he played 3 years for the Rangers. I have to look back. I'm pretty sure all 3 years are Dan Quinn. Had some really big years, but this last year, he only played 6 games. They sent him home. He got into a fight. There was some other issues with him being very outwardly spoken about being a Trump supporter and about.
Oh my!
social media.
Oh, forget it.
He did a right-wing podcast that wasn't like
Okay.
sports or hockey related.
Okay.
And he got into a fight with Georgiev, who was the backup goalie in New York to Shesterkin.
Yeah.
There was an end of a game where there was a miscommunication between him and Georgiev. He was a defenseman. It was an overtime,
Mhm.
you know, and how to play the puck or where to put it or whatever, and it ended up in the back of their net. They lost the game. And those two on the way and after the game in the tunnel were talking about the miscommunication and got into an argument.
Okay.
So they were basically pissed, like basically probably saying, like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you not giving it to me up the wall? Or where did you go?"
This probably happens 100 times a week in the NHL.
All the time,
right?
And they get into a scrap. Georgiev pops him. That's the last straw for D'Angelo. He gets sent home and clears waivers. Blah blah blah. And eventually, last year he signs with Carolina, kind of on a last ditch effort to save your career and be on best behavior. And he was there for the year, had 51 points, which would have been the second leading scorer on the Flyers, had a great season, and was a restricted free agent. Flyers traded for him.
Okay. So what's the real problem here? He got into a beef with Georgiev?
Well,
the fact that he's a right-wing guy.
That, and, everybody's, he said something when he was, I think he was 18.
Yeah.
And got suspended for a racial slur. So the leap for everybody is that
he's a racist.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He was asked that question point blank in his introductory press conference.
That's how it works these days, right?
Yes.
Okay. D'Angelo. Now, give me another D'Angelo.
Another famous D'Angelo?
Yes.
Beverly D'Angelo.
That's the first one that you would think of. Not Beverly D'Angelo, of course, of the Vacation movies. She
had great cans.
Oh, she was gorgeous back in the day, in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
in the Vacation movie, she had great cans.
Well, I'm sure she still does.
Yeah. Well, she was in what's it called? What was the show with Vincent Chase? Why can't I think of it?
I don't know.
The HBO show about I can't believe I can't think of the name of the show.
I don't know.
It was one of the biggest shows ever.
Really?
Yes, with Ari Gold.
Oh, yeah. I never watched
Entourage.
Entourage.
Damn it.
Yeah,
I'm losing my fucking mind.
She was in that. She was in that.
Yeah, she was in that. She was one of the rival agency owners to Ari.
How'd she look in that?
Older.
Well, of course, but I mean, you can look older and look good. Look at me.
Yeah, she looked good. Well, she did look good, but not as dialed in as in her heyday hair.
Yeah, she was. She kind of let it go a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like it was let go a little bit, maybe.
All right. Well, sometimes that's okay.
Yeah. That was the first one I think of, the Beverly D'Angelo.
All right. Well, that's a good one. What about D'Angelo, the R&B singer?
I don't know this R&B
from
singer.
Brown Sugar fame back in the mid-'90s.
Oh, yeah. I certainly don't know it from the mid-'90s.
Great tune.
Is that right?
Really good album. I want to say 95, 96 era. Kind of a similar guy to Maxwell. You remember Maxwell, who came out in the late 90s, I want to say? Had a big hit.
At that point, I'm working in rock radio, and I am buried in the metal.
Oh, come on. You got to branch out.
I do.
Seriously.
Well, the metal, what that can do? That can tend to lead you to not be able to fall asleep, Harry.
Oh, that's true.
That's called
And if you're having trouble sleeping, we have got the perfect solution. It's called Psalm. Have you heard about this, Jason?
Not buy Psalm.
No, not buy Psalm. But you do want to buy Psalm, okay?
Yes.
But not buy Psalm, the broadcaster legend from days gone by. But I'm talking about the scientifically advanced Psalm stack, Jason. It includes ingredients that are naturally found in your body, a healthy diet, and green tea. Psalm addresses sleep issues from three different angles, providing a more comprehensive solution. It begins with targeted nutrition to support your body's own natural sleep regulating cycle. Psalm also relaxes the mind, preparing the brain to transition smoothly from wake to sleep. Finally, Psalm provides the signal to sleep, facilitating the natural process of generating deep, restorative sleep. Want to know more? Take a peek at the supplement facts. What's not in Som is just as important as what's in it. That's why they made Som non-GMO, product verified, FDA compliant, drug-free, vegan, gluten-free, allergen-free, non-habit forming, free of artificial colors, flavors, and preservatives. To get some, that's what you got to do. You go to getsom.com. That's GETSOM.com. Click shop, and at checkout, enter the code JEEZ, JEEZ.
I've had troubles falling asleep for years.
Is that right?
Oh, it's just I'm a night guy. Like, you get up early, I get up late. And my wife, she gets up at the crack of dawn and has no problem falling. I've always had a hard time getting to bed.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, nighttime, I'm more like curious as to what is on TV, blah blah blah. And I always stay up late.
Right.
I've always wished I was one of those people that got up early and got their day started. I feel like I'm chasing the day and other people are ahead of it sometimes.
Well, you're like on the rock and roll calendar still from days gone by. They stay up late. You're out in the clubs, listening to music, playing music, and then it takes a while to decompress.
It's a good point. Yeah. I've always been a guy that sleeps in, and I'm seeing it now. Like with my son, he's got the same trait.
Ooh.
Like at this time of year, when with no school, he'll sleep all day. Like 2:00 in the afternoon, 2:30, I'm waking him up.
Wow.
Like, dude, you got to get it. You have got to get out of that.
See, I'd get up to deliver the papers at 5:00 in the morning when I was in high school. But then, in the summer, I'd go back to bed and then, maybe get up at 10, 11 o'clock and then, start my day.
Yeah. But, he just started his first job yesterday.
What is the job?
He's working at the Colonial Village. It's a deli and butcher shop.
Mm-hmm.
I think Colonial's got like 4 of them in the area.
Okay.
Local company. So he
What's
goes
he doing?
He goes in at like 4 with him and another kid that are his age at 15. And they basically take all the trash out, clean the butcher shop out to make sure it's disinfected, all that. I mean, it's an entry-level job into the world.
Sure. And it's one of the cleanest environments you'll ever see is a butcher shop.
Yes.
A good butcher shop, man, you walk in there, it just smells clean. You just know, like
bleach.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
How he smelled when I picked him up last night, Harry. I was like, oh, man, you smell like bleach. And he's soaking wet. And I'm like, how was it? And he's like, I liked it. We had fun.
Nice.
And, work and you taking out big barrels of trash and sweeping the floors and cleaning the butcher shop and taking apart the meat slicers in the deli to clean those. I mean,
clean all the blades.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta get that stuff razor thin, man.
Yeah. So
the
I was proud of him. Yeah, you gotta cut the gabagool over here.
But getsom.com and the code is JEEZ, JEEZ.
There you go.
There you go.
So the Flyers get D'Angelo. Free agency this week. Johnny Gaudreau is I think certainly in the equation. They have to shed some money.
Yeah.
By the way,
how much money do they have?
Not much. A couple mil.
Oh boy.
And they need about 10. So you got to shed JVR and probably Oscar Lindblom, which is 10 total. Which is maybe doable, but there's.
So do you think that's what's going to happen? They're going to make that move and bring in Johnny Hockey?
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with it.
Right.
Because I don't like spending $9.5 million on a winger. Right. I don't want to spend assets, whether it's a draft pick or prospect, with JVR just to get some team to take his last year of his contract.
Right. They gave up 3 picks for this D'Angelo guy, didn't they? Yeah,
they were all in different years, though.
Right. A second, third, and a fourth, I think.
Yeah. So they gave up a third this year, or no, a third next year. They have 3 third-round picks, though, and it's whatever the lowest of their third-round picks is.
All right, so that's
like worst, bad. Last. They gave around a 4th-round pick, I think, in 2 years. Or the 4th-round pick was this year, and then a 2nd-round pick next year. So they gave up 3 picks, but in different years. So I guess that mitigates.
Kind of mitigates.
Especially when you have 3 picks. Yeah.
Right, right.
So, Yeah, we'll see if they grab Gaudreau. I mean, I think they're going to. And
Hmm.
again, I talked about it on Flyers podcast. I don't know that I agree with the strategy, but
How old is he now?
29. That's
Okay.
another reason why I'm not giving a guy 7 years and 10 million when he's 29
Yeah.
and a winger.
Right. Right.
If he's a center, then we're having a conversation.
Not Kip Winger.
Mm-hmm. Not John Winger from Stripes. Winger, Ringer. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Great movie. So we'll see what happens there. Now, did you see that D Gunn got in AJ Brown's crosshairs a little bit, Harry?
AJ Brown, the newly minted wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. So
what did he do?
D Gunn was doing the show with Barrett and Rob and talking about something that he heard about. I guess it was at an OTA where there was a 10-play sequence where Jalen Hurts had 3 interceptions, 3 sacks, and whatever. It was just a horrible series of plays.
Yeah. Okay.
And that the Eagles have a lot of question marks as a result. So this got out there. Jacob Media put it out there and kind of pushed it out, that this quote, and AJ Brown saw it, and he's like, hey, don't believe any of that. It's baloney. How's he going to get sacked 3 times in a 7-on-7 when there's no pass rushers, blah, blah, blah. So he's been
You're not allowed to sack him, are you? Or is it touch? Like if the defensive comes up and just 2-hand touches him, it counts as
kills
a sack,
the play,
maybe.
right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But so, and apparently, AJ Brown said something like, water's above us. I don't know what the hell he was talking about, but I think he's got maybe a screw loose, and he's going to be an outspoken guy. But again, people, I mean, you see it, beat writers putting out play-by-play of every practice.
OTAs. Oh my God.
It's
I'm
one
not
of the
there
things,
yet, man.
I know. And it's one of the things in sports that would never fucking needed to happen. This play-by-play of practice.
I know.
And people getting excited over a 54-yard touchdown pass in practice.
Right. Or getting pissed off and bailing on a certain player because he threw an interception in practice.
And judging him on it, right?
Right.
Like this never needed to happen. Nobody was asking for this.
No, I have concerns about Jalen Hurts, but it's not because he had allegedly a bad 10-play sequence in a practice.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's because I saw him last year and I go, is this guy, if I have to ask the question, you usually know the answer, that it's no.
Right.
Now
we'll see. They build around him, and they've got, like AJ Brown, he's a stud.
Yeah.
He's been a stud at Tennessee. He was really good in college. Maybe that's exactly what they need, and help Devontae Smith on the other side, and they can get this offense rolling. They got great, interior lines on the offensive and defensive front. They are stacked. So, I mean, they're built the right way. And, if this quarterback is going to succeed, I think the rest of the team is built for him to either succeed or fail.
Yeah. I think he's got the tools around him. And again, it'll be a very important year for him.
Yep.
And you'll see where it goes. And look, maybe you're at the end of the year, you're looking for a quarterback. Who knows?
Right. Who knows?
I mean, geez, we're at mid-July basically at this point here on the 12th. I mean, I guess training camp is about 2 weeks away. 2 weeks from.
Yeah. Some of the teams, I guess, that start early playing that Hall of Fame game, and so probably start even earlier than the Eagles do. But yeah, we're probably within 2 weeks. The end of July is when it gets started.
Wow.
So, yep.
That's freaking bananas that it's that close already. Holy cow. Like we're at midsummer at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
That's another summer of Kevin Durant trying to hold people hostage.
Yeah, you
Where's
want him to come
go?
here? You want him to come here?
Well, he's not coming here.
Well, I wouldn't want him because I think he's a bitch.
He's a great player. He's a tremendous player.
I agree, but he did the ultimate bitch move in the sports.
Oh, yeah. He's done it multiple times now.
Yeah, and it looks like he's trying to pull it off again. Where I mean, he was up 3-1 with the Oklahoma City Thunder, right on Golden State,
right,
and they spit the bit in that series. And matter of fact, they're up 3-1, and they're in a situation where I think they were up 18 early in the fourth quarter to close out the Golden State Warriors, and they choked it Golden State comes back and wins, makes the series 3-2. Golden State goes on to win the round. They won't win the NBA championship.
Right.
What does Kevin Durant do that offseason? Opt out of his contract.
And
you can't beat him, join him.
Right. Maybe he ends up in Toronto. That seems to be the destination everybody's talking about.
Is he vaccinated, Harry?
I don't know. He better be, or they're not going to let him in. But maybe that's what happens. And what happens to Kyrie Irving? Does he end up with the Los Angeles Lakers or some other team? This whole thing, the bottom line is everybody's talking about Durant. How about the disaster that is the Brooklyn Nets? I mean, this whole thing, this is one of these super teams that was being created with Durant and Kyrie Irving. You put in Ben Simmons now. Ben Simmons goes there. He hasn't even played a game yet. And both of these guys might be out of there.
Do you think it's ironic that Ben Simmons is there and
awesome.
They're like, get me out of here before this guy's ready to play?
Oh, man, it's incredible. It really
this is like, do you see this as a problem in the NBA that they should do something to address all this movement around and control that players have?
Yeah, I do. I don't think it's healthy for the sport. That the players have this
creates
much
no
power
loyalty
where they can just say, hey, I want out, and basically pout their way or not play their way out of town and get dealt, and everybody acquiesces to this. Like I don't think that's a great ingredient for a successful long-term view of a sport and a league.
Yeah, I agree with you. And because it's like you want to invest in your team so much, but every time you invest in your team, they pivot because the player wants to go somewhere else.
Right.
That like in Brooklyn, like they were probably getting excited, like, oh, we got a nice 6 or 8 year window here of some really fun basketball.
Right.
And what did it turn out to be? About 2 years? And they got them nowhere?
Got them nowhere. Yeah. And it's almost like, with this transfer window in college sports is now becoming, that's getting out of control too.
Totally agree.
Where, you just don't even know what kind of roster you're going to have year to year. And I'm not even talking about teams that lose guys to the professional leagues early. We're talking about does anybody can just say, I want out. I'm the second string point guard this year. I'm going to transfer.
Yeah,
that
crazy.
There has to be some sort of limitation on it. I like the fact that the kids can decide, if the coach leaves, because that's what always would happen. You'd go there because of a certain coach. He'd recruit you, and then all of a sudden he goes and takes a better job, and you're sitting there saying, hey, well, what do you want from me? Now I want out of here, and you should have some of those rights, but there has to be some sort of, I think, control over it where it can't just be unlimited mayhem.
Yeah, and because that looks like bait and switch. Like this guy recruited me, then he left, and now boom, he's gone, and you're sitting there left holding the bag.
Right.
So, I understand some rights for that would be in order, like that part, but there's so much of this. It's almost
like the wild, wild west.
It's almost today's society. I don't like this one. I'll get another one. It's like, no, why don't you like this one and work your way to it being good?
Right. I lost. I don't like the results of this. I'm going to dispute it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go. Matter of fact, I don't like this, so I'm gonna go to the competition, or I'm gonna go somewhere else, just because it's a path of less resistance.
Right.
And I just don't. I don't think it breeds, goodwill with your fans. I really don't. In college or pros, I don't like it.
I agree.
So, is there anything else you want to get to here on the podcast, Harry?
I think we hit it all.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably certainly more to hit.
Did we miss anything?
Is the Mike McMonagle got the show sheet or what?
Mike Missinelli, he's coming up next.
No, apparently not, Harry.
No, that's right. That's right.
Apparently he is not coming in. Yeah. Apparently they're
have they made an announcement yet? I saw some special announcement. They always have some special announcement coming out.
Yeah, I think that the teaser said that it's on Wednesday. I'm not positive about that, but
is it a Fan Fest special guest? Because that's coming up in another month, and a lot of times they throw those out there, and then all of a sudden you find out PJ Tucker is going to be at Fan Fest.
Or is it going to be like JT Realmuto is going to be there because the Phillies will be in Toronto, but JT can't go. So he's coming to Fan Fest in a hermetically sealed signing booth.
Right. He's giving up his paycheck to play in the baseball game, but we're going to get a little something from the Fanatic.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, that'd be good. Hey, the fans would love to see JT.
Contact him and see if we'll do 90 minutes for $1,800.
JT,
I'm like, he makes $1,800 taking a dump.
JT be great.
Huge. Can you get Barkley to come on?
I mean, Schmidt would be great. Pete, you got to reach out to Pete.
Oh, he
Rose.
loves Pete.
Oh my God!
He loved getting Pete on.
How many times?
He was classic. He was Nagan would be like, "Get Barkley on the week before.
I
Just
know.
invite him."
I know.
And I did, and he came, and he didn't have to pay him.
I know.
So he thought it was the greatest thing in the world.
The best.
I literally I booked Barkley so that we could invite him and see if he would come for free.
Right. And he did.
Yeah, well, believe me, it wasn't free at the end of the day for Xfinity
it
Live.
Oh, okay.
Because he drank. He
drank.
He's there all day too. No,
Yeah.
he just had the hip done. He was with the
little
walker.
tequila.
Oh,
Yeah.
little.
Loves his tequila.
One thing Charles loves doing is putting the action down as well. Let's tell people about Bet Parks because Charles is a big hockey guy, so he likes betting on the playoffs, and we obviously know his prowess.
Big golf guy too. He's probably betting the Open Championship.
Matter of fact, Harry, I got a message the other day from a buddy of mine on a DM on Twitter, a guy that I grew up with, Ed Ritty, who was his caddy down the shore for a round of golf.
Is that right?
He caddied for him last week. I said, great guy, horrible golfer. And he actually said, I'm bringing it up right now. He said, no.
He's improved.
Yeah, he said, no. Golf game is much better. He shot a 94 on a very hard course.
Is this Galloway?
I don't know which course it is. But he said has a picture with him, and he says, hang him with the best hockey color guy. And it's a picture of him and Barkley.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but baseball season's going on. Golf is going on, obviously. And you can bet tennis, and you got the major this weekend. Who are the two plays you like for the British Open, Harry?
I took Patrick Cantlay plus 2,200 and Jordan Spieth plus 1,600 right now.
Okay.
At Parks. Yeah.
And those are the two plays, and the Open Championship will get underway coming up on Thursday. Final major of the year already, if you can believe it.
Early morning, too. You set your alarm early, like 3 a.m., and they'll be on TV.
Ooh, you don't set your alarm early, you just go to bed late.
5-hour time difference,
Yeah, I have a better chance of staying up later than getting up early.
Right.
Something like that.
Right.
So you got the championship this weekend. Get your action in on the Bet Parks app. It's easy to navigate, easy to use, faster to win than ever before. And new and existing users, use the promo code Jason750, and that's going to get you a risk-free bet up to $750. Wow, $750. Just put in the promo code Jason750. Again, that's new and existing users. Terms and conditions do apply. So download the app now and make sure you check it out. And you do need to be present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll announce our new partnership coming up here in a coming up episode as well.
Right. We got one more episode in July, right? And then we go back to the weekly starting in August. Is that the way it works?
Yep. We'll get back into the weeklies, and we'll get after it. We'll tell people about a new partnership and ways to consume more content from us coming up in our next episode as well. Anything else, Howard? Any last words?
No, I think I hit everything.
You hit the quota?
Yep, I did.
You're like a statey on the side of a state highway handing out tickets for speeding.
Did the deal of the week. We're good. Show sheet is fully read.
Everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching episode 27 of Bet Parks Presents the Odds